Good morning. It's Monday, March the 29th, and this is the heart of the matter. Christians get a bad rap sometimes for being hypocritical. People who have no interest in God and no use for the church often use that accusation as an excuse. I don't want anything to do with Jesus because of all the hypocrites in the church. Most of the time, that is just an excuse. But I will admit that there is hypocrisy in the church and among Christians. Of course there is. There's also lying and cheating and stealing and lust and drunkenness and most any other sin that you can name. But it is that charge of hypocrisy that stands out. And here's why that is. Hypocrisy is saying your sin is wrong while at the same time being guilty of that same kind of sin. And I'll admit that does make us look bad to a lost world. Jesus addresses hypocrisy in Matthew 7, verses 3 and 4. He said, "Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, 'Let me take the speck out of your eye,' when all the time there is a plank in your own eye?" In the eyes of some people, Christians are constantly running around looking for sawdust-sized sin in other people while ignoring a 2x4-sized sin in their own life. It is not our sin that turns them off and makes them tune out the message of the gospel. It is ignoring our own sin while magnifying theirs. It's making a big deal of their sin while minimizing our own. It's being guilty of the very thing we condemn them for. They rarely deny that they have a sin problem in their life, and they understand that we as Christians are not perfect and we have our own sin. They will tolerate failure on our part as Christians, but not hypocrisy. They will understand our weaknesses as Christians, but not our hypocrisy. And so what's the solution for a Christian? Is it to stop caring about others, about those lost in sin, and never address the sin that threatens to destroy someone's life? Well, of course not. In the next verse, Jesus says, "First, take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." Jesus said, the first thing you've got to do is examine your own heart. Look at your own life, at how you live, your own behavior. And when we find sin there, we must confess it. We have to remove it. We deal with it. We come clean about it. And then we can help that other person with their sin. Just because we're not perfect, doesn't mean we can just opt out of helping other imperfect people. But it does mean that we deal with our own sin first. And that's the heart of the matter.